Good morning, friends. Happy Thursday. I'm back. I'm going to give it a couple of moments here and let some people join in online. And we'll do a little check-in, a little tune-in Thursdays. So if you're brand new to what I'm doing here and why I'm doing this, it's an opportunity for you to see where you are. I like Thursdays because we've already had pretty much the entire week to, live our lives and be in our jobs and be in our rituals and routines and cycles. And Thursday is a great day because it allows us to see, are we truly looking forward to Friday and the weekend because we want to get out of this week? Or did we have a great week and we are, and I've been really building on something this week and maybe, it's a dream. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So yeah, we'll give it just another moment here. All right. So, welcome back. All right. I would love for us to just take a moment to ground in. I love grounding in. It's imperative to us showing up. So let's just take a moment here, and I want you to just place your hands over your heart, if that feels good to you, and close your eyes, and we're just going to take a deep breath, and that's it. Good. All right. Okay, so let us begin. So today I wanted to talk about fear and purpose. And I know that pretty much every single human being that I have come across and had a conversation with, in some way, shape, or form, we have all felt fear. Fear, worry, doubt, all same category, same frequency. And I just want to observe how many times that fear has taken over your life. How many times has it not allowed you to do something? Hi, Nancy. Hi, Charles. How often has it allowed you not to do something because you are afraid of what could be? You're afraid of the outcome. You're afraid of not being enough, worthy enough for that vision. And it's held you back. So it can be your career, it could be in your health, it could be in your love life, it could be in your finances. Hi, Mark, good to see you. And, I just want you to feel into that, just kind of lean into that right now, because this is an ongoing thing that we experience as human beings on a regular basis. All right? So I want you to observe that feeling and then just, take a scenario in your life. And this could be a scenario that's happened recently or a scenario that happened a long time ago. And for some reason, it keeps revisiting you in some way, shape, or form. And these are the things that we want to start witnessing in our lives. Yeah, we become a witness. We start noticing what we're noticing. And this is how we start to live a more conscious life. All right, so I just want to share with you guys a little bit of a story of my own personal fear and what that meant for me. And this has to do with becoming a yoga teacher. And for some of you, you know my history of mental illness and not knowing or understanding what was happening to my mental and physical being, growing up with borderline personality disorder. And years later, it really took me until, about 15 years ago is when I started to wake up to healing this. I didn't even know I had a mental illness for another 3 years, and then I began working on that. And all the while, when I was 20 years old, so this is 18 years ago, when I was 20 years old, I began a yoga practice. And that yoga practice really at first, I want to say for the first 3-4 years, I wasn't like super dedicated. I saw it more as like an act of fitness, and look at, I'm like this cool yogi with these, in this room with 90 other people, and I can do that, so it was very, very egoic, and obviously like I didn't really know or understand what yoga was and what it was doing to me. And fast forward 4 years later, when I landed in a class with a man named Govindas, he was this really almost just very spiritual being that held this presence, held this kindness and compassion in the way he taught. And I really resonated with that, because at that time in my life, I didn't care about myself. I didn't know what love was. And it took me years and years later even to start figuring out what love was. But Govindas embodied love. And I found myself going to his class 2 to 3 times a week. And slowly but surely, I started having little glimpses of what I'm calling awakening. I started seeing and feeling the practice of yoga. I started feeling the connection within myself, that this wasn't just about my body, that I am coming into balance in some way. And I'm really, really saying that this is a time in my life where I was feeling so, I was in the depths of my suffering. But this class, even if I had a moment where I didn't suffer, that was enough for me to keep coming back. And honestly, it took me another, I want to say 2 to 3 years before he even knew my name. I did not think that I was worthy enough for my teachers to know my name. So I would go to class, practice, and then I would exit, and that was my cycle until one day Govinda said to me, "What is your name?" And I was like, oh my God, he sees me. Well, that sparked an idea in my mind, and I think I was around 26 or 27 at the time, and I was like, I really love how he leads. I really love how he's able to hold an audience, and how he's what he's giving to me, because I feel myself healing. And at this point, I had already figured out and started healing my borderline personality disorder. And that was at age 27. But it still took another 2 years for me to even have the remote confidence to believe that I could be a guide for other people, that I could somehow use my own experiences and my own practice and lead other people into their own healing. And at 28 is when I had a really big turning point. I was working at a job. Hi, Jeremy. Hi, Peter. I was working in a job, commercial property management. I did that for almost 10 years. And yeah, if you can imagine me doing that. And I was making great money. I was very unhappy because it wasn't creative. I don't know, it's a job that you get barked at a lot, and it's, people, it's very unforgiving, and just I wasn't feeling it, but I didn't know what else to do, because I wasn't a child who had a dream, and I was like, you know what, when I grow up, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be an astronaut. I was a kid who was like, I just want to feel love. I didn't know how to feel love, and I grew up in a challenging environment. So, love was very foreign to me. So that's all I've been working towards my entire life, is how do I feel love? So becoming a yoga teacher started to spark that in me. I get to feel something for myself. I get to feel relief. I get to feel a little bit of joy. I get to feel a little less suffering. And at 28 years old, and I came home from work one day, and I put my key in the keyhole, and I was very calm. I mean, I had already been working on my borderline stuff, on trying to work through the patterns. And borderline is extremely, if you don't know what it is, you can look it up. I'll talk more about that in another talk. But your emotions get very, very heightened. You get triggered. You have no real sense of identity. And I remember coming home one day and I put that key in the hole, and I was calm in my physical body, but in my mind I was screaming. And I was like, oh, that's not good. And this screaming got louder and louder until one day I came home from work and I decided that that was the day I was going to die. And I was calm. I was calm. So when a person makes a hard decision like that to end their life, yeah, it can be emotional. It can, we think about moments where we're in this deep despair, we're writing suicide notes, and we're gonna say our goodbye to the world. No, I was calm and I was at peace with ending my life and leaving the earth. And I began to plan my death. What that did to me that day, I laid on my bed and it was almost like, this was spirit. This wasn't even, I was looking down on myself from above. And something said to me, it's time to get help. So the idea dropped that I had a short-term disability and that I could utilize that to seek some real help, and I could essentially save my life. And literally 2 days later, I left my job of nearly 10 years and I never went back. I had the intention to go back 4 months later, but I never went back. And I went and I researched and I sought treatment, and I went into Cedars-Sinai. And in that process of being guided into my healing and being guided into learning new coping skills and how to change my thoughts and behaviors and how to unwind my entire being and completely do a 180, it gave me the opportunity to create a new person. That person had a dream to be a yoga teacher. And I would talk about it in group therapy, and I was like, they said, Denise, what do you want? Where do you see yourself? And I was like, I really want to be a yoga teacher, but I don't think I can. I don't think I can lead people. I don't think that I don't have that kind of presence. So continuing into my practice, I continued to go to yoga. I continued to go to kirtan, bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is actually what shifted all of this for me. Devotional yoga, yoga of the heart. It is yoga of love. This is where I began to feel love. And I was at kirtan one night. Kirtan is yoga chanting and dancing, and kind of think about like the hippie yogis. That's us. That's the bhaktis. And I was at this event, and I began to sing, and I got up and I had the courage to start dancing. And this is the first time that I had gotten up and danced. I didn't want people looking at me. I was like one of those people who stayed in the back, and you don't want that attention on you. But I felt so inspired by the music and the movement, and I just said, F it. I'm going to keep dancing, and I'm just going to do this with my eyes closed so I don't look around and see if people are looking at me. And I danced and I danced and I danced. And something ignited within my heart. And the next day, I still felt that energy moving through me. And I signed up for teacher training. Teacher training started just a few weeks later. And it was a 10, 12-week program, if I remember correctly. And I studied with a man named Tamal Dodge. And teacher training was terrifying for me, because for the first time in my life, this was the only thing that I'd ever wanted for myself. So if I failed, I had nothing. So most of the time when we consciously go into a training, we're really excited, and we're ignited. We're gonna be doing something that we actually really love to do. Yeah, it wasn't like that for me. It was me honestly crying every single day, like, Why would people even want to come to my class? Why would people want to even be led to me? There's no way. I can't remember all of this. I'm not going to be able to lead an hour and a half class. I'm not going to be able to survive as a yoga teacher. But what else am I going to do? What did I know? Commercial property management. And that was my job. That wasn't my passion. I fell into that. So I worked through the fears. And come the day that I graduated and I had to give my final class, and I had to teach in front of the class. And it was short. It was like 15 minutes. Honestly, my final was 15 minutes. But that entire weekend, I cried the whole weekend, sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. And then I was just like, oh no, I can do this. I just decided to pretend that I'm a yoga teacher and that I can hold the space and that I can lead this group of people and I can help them feel what I feel. And I got through it. I received my certification, and of course I cried. So that was beautiful. And then, moving on to actually becoming a yoga teacher and gaining the strength to take a class and take a classes and, find a place to teach. And I started subbing classes, and that's really how I started to learn how to teach. As I got out of my comfort zone, I started subbing classes. And I started getting over these fears, and I developed this idea that my intention for being a teacher was to help people heal in yoga, because that was what helped me heal. So we teach what we know. And slowly but surely, my teaching style developed, and now it has turned into something called medicine yoga, and it is something very sacred to me and very sacred to my students and everybody that has come across. I've owned a yoga studio, for some of you who know that, and that became a healing space for people. And I love talking about this because this was a fear that turned into a dream, and I allowed myself to keep moving forward. And what I want to invite today is just for you guys to feel out some area in your life. And I want you to feel out, there's 4 quadrants of your life that we really are focused on. Our health and well-being, our love and relationships, our vocation, and our time and money freedom. And I want you to think about one area of your life where maybe you're feeling fear, and you've had a thought and you're trying to figure out, how can I make this happen? And these are the things. Now I am, as you guys know, I am in a program right now doing dream building. It's called Dream Building Coaching. And it's a coaching program, and this is an opportunity, and this is why I am opening this up to you guys. These are opportunities for us to start digging deeper into our lives. And I'm going to be sharing content with you every week. I'm going to be sharing with you how to achieve your vision. This is my next dream, and this is not easy. This path is not easy. I've been going through a lot of fears. I've been shifting my paradigms. But it is my purpose and my passion to show people and lead the way. To show people how to get through the portal, to give you the formula for the life that you want. And I'm really excited about that because we get to share together, we get to be together, we get to experience together and feel together and connect. And that is what life is all about, is connecting. We are not an island, and we can't live our lives like that. And if we're not showing up in our hearts, and we're not showing up for each other, and we're not showing up in really in the way that we are, in the world, we all have something to contribute. But what is it? What is it? So anyway, I want you guys to chew on that a little bit. Just let that settle in with you this week, and just think about your any type of fear and any type of vision that would lead you a little bit further into your purpose. Feel that out, write it down, and we'll be back next week to talk about more. So I will be holding vision workshops. I'm going into my live certification training March 9th through 11th. After that, sometime in March, I will be holding my first vision workshop where we're actually going to write all this stuff down and then we're going to take it to the next level. So I'm really excited for that. If you are in Los Angeles, stay tuned, and I will make sure to invite you. All right, I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in today, and have a really beautiful weekend. Happy March. Happy full moon.